Hello folks, welcome to the canal channel Jose. Today we're going to talk about the belts on the engine of your car or your truck. And most of the times we don't pay attention to these components and what would happen if you don't replace those belts on time and one of those is snapped. So we're going to expose some of the belts that are out there in the market, and we're going to explain a little bit about the internal and external belts on the engine. And with that said, let's get started. So you're driving around town and you're getting your cab cooled down by the AC. You're getting the steering is soft, it's nice and smooth. You don't have to put too much muscle into it. And then you got your electrical stuff charging up while you're in idle and you're in a light. So all that work has to be done by some other components, and those components have to be driven by a belt from the main pulley on the crankshaft. So you get an alternator, you got a power steering, you got an AC, you got your water pump sometimes that is driven by the belt, and the main crankshaft is driven because all the pistons and all that, that's the main component that is actually spinning to create power on the engine, and that transfers into the transmission and all the other good stuff. But from the main pulley to the other components, there has to be belts that make the other components spin, like the alternator and all the good stuff that is added onto the engine. The belts are the ones that drive or make those components spin as the engine is spinning while it's on. And if these belts rip or tear, what would happen? So there's different kind of belts on the car manufacturer world. There's a B belt, there's a serpentine belt, and there's timing belts. There's other stuff that like the timing chain, but we're talking about belts today. Anything that is like rubber. So these belts are actually, as time goes on or as technology has improved, these belts have changed in shapes and now they're trying to make them better. We're going to expose some of the B belts. These are the B belt. And what it does is the internal part of the belt is thinner than the outside. So these were some of the older technology that was used. It's still being used out there, but it's been upgraded. So they have a numbers on the belt and outside. So that's the measurements of the belts with all these letters and everything. So sometimes it's good to have these numbers written down somewhere. So for the future reference, if you need to replace it and you can find it with these numbers, you can match and have a close match to what you need. So this is the B belt. Technology improved. The B belt still it was still the same, but instead of having it smooth, they put these grooves. Like sometimes they call it gator back, so they would grab better as the pulley was in it turns. These will give it a better. It will be more friction, and it will make the component spin. Sometimes the smooth belts will slide a little bit and slide, and it will start wearing down the belt. So they made this belt where it will grab on and spin the component with no problem. So this is the older technology. Then this came out, and then as time went on, and technology improved as well. Then they made this serpentine belt. It's a wider belt, thinner, and it has some grooves in the inner wall. So when this will drive more components or almost all of the components on the engine, because this will be more reliable. But if it will break, then everything will be down. But these belts actually they can come and drive everything that is in your engine with just one belt or two belts of these, because they're more the technology on these belts are better. Now we got the timing belt on this for an engine. These timing belts can be as wide as this or even wider, because the work and the stress that they take. So these belts have to be in top-notch operation. So if this belt breaks, it will be a big problem for the engine. But today we're not talking too much about the timing belt, because we're talking about the external. This is a critical belt, but we wanted to expose how these belts look like. These tooth or these grooves are to assimilate gears, so then they will never slip and it will never change where it needs to be at. It's always gonna be in that one tooth, and it's gonna have everything rotating at the same time, and there wouldn't be any sliding into it. So that's why these are like timing chains. This is like a chain, but it's rubber. So this is actually really critical for the engine to have working properly. So now that we talk about the different types of belts and the chains and all that, so what's going to happen if that belt that is in your engine is external belt? The internal is the timing belt or timing chain. That's a different topic. That's very critical. But if these belts that drive the alternator, power steering, air conditioning, and water pumps and all that, if there's two or three belts and one of them breaks, or that serpentine belt breaks, what's going to happen? We got a serpentine belt operating all those pulleys on the other components, external components like the alternator, power steering, air conditioning. What's going to happen is the alternator is going to stop working because there's no spinning, it's not creating any power. So now all the electrical system is going to be working out of the battery, and until that battery drains down, then the engine is going to shut down. So the battery is going to be the only source of power for the electrical, like the fuel pump and the lights and the radio and all the other good stuff, because the alternator is not working and it's not creating any power, not because it's bad, it's because the pulley is not spinning because that belt is broken. So another thing, once the belt breaks and that's driving all those components, the next thing that you're going to experience is that the power steering system is not going to work. You're going to have to put a lot of effort into steer the car because now the power steering is not getting any assistance from the main engine or the main pulley to the power steering pump, and the power steering pump, because it's not spinning, is not creating assistance to the hydraulic system on the steering. You're gonna be able to steer a car, but you're not gonna be able to have a soft steering. It's gonna put some work to it so you can get it, especially if you're in a dead stop and you need to spin those tires to the left or to the right. You're gonna have to put a lot of muscle into it because that belt has broken and it's not helping on the power steering. So if that serpentine belt breaks or that one belt breaks and you're not having any AC on the cab, maybe that AC belt that is driving just the compressor on the AC on the engine has broken off the belt, and that's why you're not getting any cooling on the cab. But if it was a serpentine belt, you have no power steering, the system on the charging side is just dying, and then you have no air conditioning because that belt has broken out from all those components. So the only thing that is spinning is the engine, and the AC is not going to give you any cooling in the cab because that compressor on the engine compartment is not spinning as well. So the other thing that this broken belt can cause is the water pump not to work properly. And if the water pump was driven by the belt, what's going to happen is that the engine is going to start overheating because the liquid, even if the radiator is working, the fans are kicking in, the thermostat is opening, that liquid or that coolant needs to be circulated in the engine, but the water pump is the one taking the job and is not doing it. So what's going to end up doing is going to be the worst scenario in this case because of the belt. The car is going to start overheating because there's no liquid moving around in the engine, and now you had a broken belt, and now your car is overheating due to that broken belt. So the broken belt can also cause your car to go into a worse scenario, which is overheating because the water pump is not working properly. So that's what's going to happen if that belt breaks. All those components that were driven by that belt are going to stop working until that belt gets replaced or you get a brand new belt in there. So if there's two belts, three belts, or one belt, you're going to have to put that belt back in. So that way all the components continue working properly. But the worst scenario is that if that water pump stops working, your car is going to overheat, and you don't want that because that means that you can get into big trouble or even replace an engine because of belt. So next time you find a belt that needs to be replaced, take care of it right away. That way you avoid headaches by spending a couple dollars and not a full engine. And well, folks, we wanted to expose this info because this is stuff that we just don't think about, and these belts are actually very important because if the wrong belt breaks, you're going to have a bad day if the car overheats because the water pump was the one driven by the belt. And if you don't replace those belts or you never check those belts, it's a good time to look into those belts and see if they need to be replaced. And then if they need to be replaced, you're going to spend a few dollars instead of replacing a whole engine or into bigger trouble. So the belts are very cheap. compared to an engine. And like I said, also the belts can actually affect the performance on your engine, because that belt, if it breaks, the battery is going to start draining down, and then that battery can go bad. And now once you replace the belt, then you're going to have to replace a battery, and then it can jump around to different components due to the one belt. So you don't want that, and you don't want especially an overheating engine on your car, because that one belt that you didn't check and it broke off. And with that said, folks, for our friends who are watching our video, haven't subscribed to our channel, please subscribe. If you like our video, give us thumbs up, share it, and we'll see you soon with more videos here in el canal del Chano Jose.